The song of the nightingale is amazing. Did you recognize that all the songs you heard during that video were different from each other? Males can sing more than 200 different songs, most of which they have learned when they were young. This is just one of many fascinating examples of how animals communicate. In this video, we will look at the basic principles of communication and cover some basic terminology. The advantages of communication are evident to us, like in this lecture. We can broadcast information and learn from each other. In fact, communication is involved in almost all aspects of our life. Animals are not different. Communication plays a key role in their daily lives, such as between parents and offspring, for finding a mate, finding food, avoiding predators, or for defending resources. To communicate, animals have evolved signals to some extent similar to human language. Sometimes these signals are subtle, like a gesture or a facial expression, and sometimes very conspicuous, like the roar of a sea lion. Signals have specifically evolved to transfer information. So signals are distinct from cues, which also provide information, but have not evolved specifically to do so. For example, a mouse rustling through the leaves on the ground provides information to an owl about its presence. We do not consider this as communication, as the rustling has not evolved to attract the owl, of course. The signal needs to be much more deliberate. But let's get started with the basic terminology. The basic units of communication system are a signaler, a signal, and a receiver. The signaler produces a signal in which it codes some kind of information. The signal transmits through the environment. The receiver, then, is any individual that is able to decode information from the signal. These are very technical terms, but are important to have in mind when considering in more detail how a communication works and how it evolves. Communication can be enormously complex. Indeed, signals often code a large complexity of different kinds of information. It may be directed to one or several individuals at the same time. Some signals are used in just one direction, like in this monologue, this lecture, without a specific known individual being addressed. In other cases, signals are used to interact with particular other individuals. Often, an individual is both a signaler and a receiver at the same time. To really understand the complexity of animal communication, we need to zoom into specific examples. Let's stay with birdsong for now, as this is one of the best studied communication systems in animals and very good to illustrate fundamental principles. In our own long-term research on nightingales, for instance, we use playback experiments with songs to experimentally study specific turn-taking rules, where singing males alternate their song. They sing, listen, and sing, much in the same way as in a dialogue, where we take turns in talking. Listen to this example, where two males switch roles. They alternate their songs, as birds do most of the time. If these rules are violated, such as when one individual systematically starts before the song of the other one has terminated, it's called overlapping, and the individual can get quite agitated then. It stops singing or may even become aggressive. This is similar to humans, where we perceive systematic interruptions as unpleasant or annoying. Listen to this example, where bird B overlaps systematically the song of bird A. Well, from now on, listen carefully to birds outside. You can hear how often they take turns in singing, sometimes overlapping each other, and sometimes replying with the same exact song. This is how they regulate their social and spatial relations. Animal signals like this one can carry a lot of information, which is usually about the individual itself, such as its quality or intentions. Yet, Animals can also communicate by sending information about something external to them in their environment. The most famous example here is the waggle dance in honeybees, in which a scout communicates the distance and direction of a food source to other bees when returning to its hive. In a vertical hive, the bee dances in an angle to the perpendicular, in which equals the angle between the food source and the sun. This kind of information is called referential communication, because the signal refers to an external object. Hopefully you have received my signal in this video successfully and found the information interesting. So, see you next time.